Good morning. Wow. What a great crowd. I want to thank Florida Phi Beta Lambda for arranging this conference and looking out and seeing what I've seen the last few hours. What a great looking bunch of future business leaders of Florida. In 1984, I said that when I found myself in a terrifying situation when my Iranian-born but American-educated husband demanded that we take our then 4-year-old daughter, Mahtob, to visit his family in his homeland. During that time, I know you're too young to remember that, but you've certainly read it in history. The Iranians had taken the embassy, the American embassy, and held hostages. And why would an American travel to a country during that time? They took the hostages, they suffered a revolution, and during the time we were going, they were in the middle of a bloody war with Iraq. I had to do whatever was necessary to save my daughter. It was one of those times when I felt it wasn't fair, it wasn't right, and I didn't know how to get out of it. I knew that if I didn't get on that plane, he would kidnap Mahtob and take her to Iran without me, and I would never see her again. And on the evening before our scheduled departure, I was in the bedroom, packing, reminiscing, thinking, I was proud of Mahtob and myself because during this 2 weeks we didn't really have a lot of translation, didn't know a lot of what was really happening around us. But happy to be going home that next day. My husband came in, put his arm around my shoulder and said, I don't know how to tell you this. We're not going home. You're in Iran until you die. Now you're in my country. You'll abide by my rules. Had I agreed with his orders, I probably would not have been beaten at that time. But I cried, I screamed, I begged, all to no avail. The family became our guards, and we were told if we ever touched the phone or walked out the front door, we'd be killed. I decided to pretend to become a broken woman. I went to my husband and said, okay, you win. I'm going to live here, but you have to help me make the best of it. It was a long, persistent process, but eventually I was given permission to go out and stand in those long lines to buy food like the other women. It was those occasions that I took the chance to confide in total strangers, and I begged for help. In the United States, I had the role of dual national without knowing, but once I landed on Iranian soil, I was only recognized as an Iranian citizen, had no rights as an American. And even though we were at the American interest section, they could do nothing to help us leave the country. They told me, you'll never leave Iran or take your daughter out of Iran without your husband's written permission. Holding us in Iran constitutes abduction. I had these concrete facts, but there was still, after all of this, no protection for us in the U.S. court system. We started working, they wanted to help, we started working on legislation. It took 5.5 years in Michigan for Michigan to become the first state in the United States to have a law protecting children from international divorce cases. In 1993, President Clinton signed into bill a law making it a felony for a parent to take a child out of the country without the other parent's permission or permission from a court. Just 2 days ago, I saw on the internet a case where a child was kidnapped to Egypt, and they used that international law to apply to the father who abducted the child. Everyone is faced with challenges in life. Our journey through life is not a straight line. It's full of curves and turns, and sometimes we go backward. Maybe some of you have been bullied, abused, or maybe you just want to make a difference. If you truly believe that something isn't right or it's not fair, you live in a country where you can make a difference.